Okay, so I am starting the recording for the Conservation Commission meeting of June 12th, 2023. I want to welcome everybody to the meeting. We have some special things going on tonight. And I wanted to know if anybody had any adjustments to the agenda. No one wanted to add anything? Penny, you're on mute. You're muted. You are muted.
I'm sorry, new computer, new system. Karen, I just did want to add a few minutes of telling the board some of the issues that I found with the website and ask what they might like to do about it.
Okay, would that be okay if we do that at the end?
Sure.
Okay. Then no other additions? Okay. Any public comment from the two members of the public? Besides Penny. Penny, do you have, is it very short? You could make it a public comment, actually.
Yeah, it's very short. Basically, I wanted to say that I think the new website looks great. I think it would be wonderful if we could possibly put a calendar up as a running calendar on the homepage. But Amanda, I have to connect with Amanda about that, and I haven't heard back from her yet. And on the events calendar, when the Conservation Commission had the bird outing, it was the same color as all the other entries, all the commission meetings. So I asked Amanda if it could be changed to a different color since it was a special event. And she said no because of ADA, but I think that someone misinformed her. I feel sure it can be a different color. So to pop it out. That's basically what all I wanted to say is that I'm hoping that we could maybe get a running calendar on the front page and that we could pop out some of the Conservation Commission special events.
And do you also, do you imagine that that will also be, we'll still have our calendar on the town website calendar?
Right, yes. I did notice when I went to the Conservation Commission, there's a separate calendar for Conservation Commission and there's nothing on it. Yet for the town calendar, there is the Conservation Commission is listed. So I think somehow it doesn't duplicate, and I just wanted to talk to her about that also. That's it. Unless someone has some ideas for other things.
If we were to get ourselves organized, could we add a monthly blurb or educational something? I mean,
that would be wonderful. There are lots of opportunities for that, Betsy, on the website that you can have. You can exchange text or have ongoing text or communications. That would be great.
Just sort of a quote of some sort that's inspiring. There's a fellow named Hal Borland who has written some amazing pieces for the New Yorker, and they're short paragraphs. If I were to pick one per month, would I send that to you? I don't know anything about how this works.
Yeah, well, would that go to you?
I'm just trying to usher things through. I guess Karen would make that decision. Can I be of an assist? Can I be a middleman, or would you want it to go right to Amanda, Karen?
What do you know? I think you could be the middle person. You could
Why
be
don't
the
I
gatekeeper.
Why don't I start being the middle person? And Amanda's really sharp and she can change those things out once she gets used to where it needs to be. The other thing is, for instance, when you click on the Conservation Commission meeting on the calendar, it brings you to a page which has the agenda on it for that meeting. But it might also be nice to have, for instance, some text on that page that says, everyone is invited to attend the Conservation Commission, the public or whatever, and here are the members. And it might be nice to have some other standard text on there that just stays there. So anyway, I'm hoping to work a little bit more on it, and I can confer with you each month about it if you'd like. And that's it.
All right, thank you. You're going to stay on, though, for this special treat. We have Sandy Wilmot from the Natural Resources Inventory and Mapping Committee and Planning Commission. It's going to talk about the first part of the work that Arrowwood is doing for us.
The natural resource inventory and mapping. Yes. Karen, do you think you can pull up the presentation, or would you like me to help? Oh, go to D.
Yes.
And then there's town. And the PowerPoint.
This one, yes.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yep.
Do I accept the license agreement?
Probably.
I don't think so. Yeah, yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, I guess you have to.
Okay.
It must be on the computer already, don't you?
I think it is. I think it's because they did an update today. There.
And then do we need to share it through our
Yes.
meeting?
And we go to where? Go back to go to meeting,
Mm-hmm.
which is here.
Yep.
And I say,
Down at the bottom.
oh, I don't go to right here?
Down at the bottom, there's a share.
Share?
Yeah,
My screen?
yeah. And then you.
Is it window up at the top next to Chrome tab?
So not this then.
Up at the top, say window.
Where's that?
In the white.
In the white.
This?
No.
Here?
It says. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, that. Okay. Entire screen? No.
Do the window first. Yeah, and then select the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And that works? Okay, good.
Yes.
And now I say share with you though. Are you all set?
I'm fine.
Okay.
We can see, so yeah. So Arrowwood is the expert here. I'm just bringing you information about what we've done so far and my interpretation of what it means. So next slide, Karen. So the whole purpose of this is really to map and then assess the natural features of town and to inform everybody about the ecological value of these features to help support conservation planning and as an education and outreach tool. And then to use this baseline data to guide planning for future development in a way that protects significant resources. We've divided this project into 2 phases so that we could fund it over a course of 2 years. So phase 1, which was just completed.
I think you want to say.
What you'll see is that it includes land cover patterns, and I'll tell you more about these as we go. Upland natural communities, wetland natural communities, important forest blocks, in other words, those that aren't fragmented, and then some general conclusions about wildlife habitat, but a lot of that's going to be covered in phase 2. Next.
Oops, sorry.
They sent us a report which is available, and I don't know if, did you forward it to the group? The final report?
I think I did.
Well, it's
if I didn't, I'll
available.
re-forward it.
It can be forwarded,
Yeah.
and you might want to post a link on your website also. So it basically shows what I just talked about, but in the appendix, it has some summary tables and how they did this, which is very interesting to read. It kind of helps interpret what the meaning of a lot of it is. Okay. So land cover for Underhill is it's mostly forested. And when we get to the point where I can actually show you a dynamic interactive website, we can zoom in on some of the features. But this is, generally what it looks like. It doesn't have a lot more detail than what we'd expect. It will show like the developed areas and that sort of thing. Okay, next slide. And then this is an example of the natural community, upland natural community map. And there are 21 different natural communities that were mapped. And the legend is a little complicated, but as you zoom in on the interactive site, you can go to each block and identify what the natural community is, and it'll tell you a little bit more information about it. Next.
Okay, I was wondering if I switch to slideshow. I guess I can't do the whole. I just want to get rid of that.
If you click from current slide.
Up at the left.
Left.
Yeah. It might help people at home in particular. So there's also a table like this that shows all of the natural communities, how many acres they found, how many different examples, different polygons, and how big each of those are. So you can see some of them are very small, a half acre in size. Others are larger, 132 acres. So they do vary a lot. One of the things that you'll have to keep in mind is that they included in this mapping Mount Mansfield State Forest portion that's in Underhill. So the 132 acres that you see there is montane yellow birch, red spruce forest, which is largely in the upland areas. So those aren't usually on private land. They're mostly in the higher elevation forests. Okay, next.
Okay.
I think you can just push the down arrow on the computer itself.
And where's that? Oh, you mean here?
Yeah.
Nope. This is. I have a.
Try this arrow.
I have a Lenovo, so it's very different than this.
That's not working.
Okay, next slide here. No.
Can you roll the button on the mouse?
Ah, okay, let's go. Whoops. 2, 3. How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're looking at wetland natural communities, and there's a lot of them, 464 that were mapped into 17 different wetland natural communities. What was I going to say about that?
So how big are these wetland
Well,
communities?
I'll show you that on the next slide. Yeah.
Okay.
So the wetlands in particular, they will be looking at verifying those types of wetlands when they do the field work this summer. A lot of those, this was done mostly from soils map and from aerial photography kinds of things. But when they go in and actually identify the wetlands, they can tell more about You know, like a lot of things were grouped into beaver complex.
Yeah, that was
Some
my
of those
question.
I'm not sure
600,
were.
400 acres, there's a lot of beavers.
There are, I looked at a few of the ones that I know of that I don't believe have any beaver in them. So, you know, there'll be some changes to this when they
Yeah, beavers
actually
move
go
around
over.
a lot though.
Yeah, right,
So sometimes a year or two.
right.
It could be former beaver.
Yeah, and then they move back in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and the average size really varies there. Some of these are on hydric soils, and they were able to tell that they were, you know, seeps or some sort of shrubby swamps, that kind of thing. Anyways.
I noticed that there are like 3 different swamps, 4, 5 swamps.
Mhm.
And then there's bogs too, right?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of the bogs, again, are probably upland on the state forest.
There's one.
What's that?
There's one bog.
Oh, there's only one bog. A dwarf shrub bog?
But it's 18.
18 acres, yeah.
Jeez.
Does it have lady slippers growing in it right now? Or ram's head?
It'll be fun to look at, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder where that is.
What's the difference between a bog and a wetland?
Yeah, well, you bring up a good point, and this book, Wetland, Woodland, Wildlands, has all of the natural communities of Vermont and descriptions, rough maps of where they might be found. And that's what all of the natural community mapping in Vermont is based on this text.
It's a terrific book.
It's
Oh, really?
amazing. Yeah.
Informative.
I knew this.
And a bog, though, by definition, is it doesn't have any inflow or outflow, or is it only outflow? Maybe you can look up the definition there.
Yeah, and the definitions are also interesting to read.
A bog is a peatland.
Yeah.
And it's got a certain place in forest succession. If a pond, the conditions are right around the small pond, the bog will start to form around the edges where the peat moss is growing in towards the middle, and then open water shrinks and eventually comes over.
Yeah, did you read the definition?
Yes, I have that book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everywhere receives most of its water and nutrients from precipitation. Bogs are dominated by moss and
Sphagnum
heath.
Sphagnum.
Yes, sphagnum moss, heath, and heath
Mhm.
and with shrubs. And acidic peat accumulating wetland
Mhm.
is isolated from mineral-rich water sources. So it's isolated. So it stands alone.
It may, have been created by a depression.
Usually.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how do you get this book?
Oh, actually, it does say frequently surrounding a body of
Phoenix.
open water.
You can get it at
Books.
Phoenix Bookstore?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's,
Can you get it on Google? Amazon?
you can go to the next one, Karen.
Okay, I see that they did capture some vernal ponds,
Yeah.
22 of them.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Yeah, so here are the forest blocks that they identified, and they have, in the methods, it talks about how much of the, what's it called, an inclusion? How big they can be in order to be a significant forest block that's intact. So each of these 34 blocks that they've identified on the map, they have some text that goes along with it, describing a little bit more about what they felt was important to it.
And so there, well, we see a lot of Mount Mansfield State Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you look over on the Upper Tupper area.
31 is probably the largest other block we have.
Where's that?
It runs north-south from, yeah.
That one in the middle? Is that between,
It's right next to, between Poker Hill Road and Irish Settlement, basically, yeah.
yeah, so that's Flynn Hill there. Okay, yep. I got it.
Oh, I see.
So it's like, if I can read that, is that 7,370 something acres?
7,378.6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a pretty important forest block as far as that.
And actually, we found a bog when we were there. Was it last year?
On Tupper
Gun the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that was one of them that they identified as a beaver complex, which I'm not sure that's correct, you know. So that's like some of the things that would be good to identify and have them look at. Next slide. So this is a general view of this interactive viewer that you can go to online. After we finish this, I can take you there, and you can zoom in on parcels, you can zoom out, you can identify different layers that you want to look at. Maybe you just want the forest blocks or just the upland communities. It's really a valuable tool, I think, for anyone that wants to kind of look closer at what's there. Next slide, Karen. So I zoomed in on this portion, which you don't need to know where it is, but just to look at those red circles are the red oak northern hardwood forests. So among this long stretch of forested area that we just spoke of, most of it's northern hardwood forests. But you have all of these polygons of interesting different natural communities, which I would think landowners would be interested in knowing about. And for example, the rich northern hardwood arrow that I have there that goes up to the green, rich northern hardwoods are areas where you would expect the diversity to be about as high as it can be in forests that we're used to dealing with. And both of these areas, I think, for future climate adaptation of forests would be really valuable to know about, and, you know, perhaps work on some conservation or special management with landowners about that. So that you have a seed source of oak.
Yeah,
And you have
I've been all over. I've never seen oak trees.
Yeah.
So these red little blobs are pretty. Those are oaks.
Yeah.
So there's like oak stands. There must be a lot of bear and animal life around because they eat
valuable
them.
wildlife.
Yeah. I have one question. The animal corridors. Are they in here?
That's in phase 2. So we haven't got to that yet. These maps and this work is great until we get the whole product. It's interesting and valuable to look at, but there's more. And that's what the phase 2 will bring.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You've probably answered this already, and maybe it's in the report. How long did it take to do all of this? Nothing.
Well, we only had the contract for a year, but we happen to know they didn't start it until February. So it really, they know how to do this. They've contracted with a lot of towns, and they have a system that makes it straightforward for
And a
them.
lot of the maps already exist.
Yep.
So they're using what the state already has available and zooming in on Underhill to figure out the details.
And they rely a lot on soil maps. That often depicts what the natural communities are going to be. It's how fertile they are, how well drained, is it a north-south aspect, all of those kind of things, elevation, all that
Elevations.
works into there.
So in terms of like the red oak, northern hardwood forest, red oak, but other hardwoods in addition to red oak, so there are maples. It's not really calling out maples at all in this report.
Well,
Unless
it's just not on these slides. But when we go to the interactive, we can zoom in on that. I just didn't identify that because it's pretty ubiquitous. So yeah. So phase 2, this is what we're asking Arrowwood to look at, do the ground verifications of these natural and wetland communities, do more specific wildlife evaluations, the wetland evaluations like I mentioned, and the wetland evaluations will include corridors and road crossings, and some of that will be done over the winter when you can really do good tracking. Yeah. So they'll update their final report with more information about wildlife and these other things, and the hope is that they can help educate this committee, the planning commission, select board, and residents by giving presentations. They're the authorities and can really point to things that they think are significant, that are unique, that we should be working on. So.
And when they do the tracking in the winter, is that expectation that they'll have volunteers from the town helping, or they're just going to go out and do it?
I don't know that yet. We haven't talked about what support they'll need for this, other than our natural resource committee will be contacting landowners to make sure it's okay that they can go on properties. And they had suggested we could think about landowners who we know would be interested in having them, and have a list ready in case they find, like if they want to inspect certain types of natural communities and they know they're here and here and here, but they can't access this one, then they can look at some other ones to help verify it. So that might be something that your group is, it would be helpful with, some landowners.
I know on our settlement, right in the middle, there's a whole group of us that support all the wildlife and the beavers, and we do tracking, and so there's a big group of us. You met my neighbor.
Yes.
And there's a lot of us. So,
well, good. When I my question to them right now was, when are you coming to do this, so we can give landowners an idea of when to expect them, and then we can start reaching out to landowners that we know of. And when we get a list of places that they'd like to go, we can start contacting them. So we'll be the conduit between Arrowwood and the landowners, so they don't have to do that kind of thing. So, if you'd like, I can give you a quick preview of the interactive site so you know how to use it and can do it there. Yeah. If you want to go back to that previous slide, Karen, I think you can. Maybe I'll sit over here and
This one?
actually do it.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. I don't see myself on the website on the GoToMeeting. But Sandy, I just wanted to tell you this is so wonderful. This is very exciting.
Yes, we know. Finally, it's getting done.
Yeah.
Here, you can drive. You wanna drive? Yes. Do everything.
Maybe I can, yeah, I don't know how to get you back right now, but after I show the interactive one, I will get them back.
So, may
Yeah.
I also ask a question? Would we be able to identify our own property then and what we've got going on?
I think it has parcels. Does it have parcels? It might not have the actual parcel, but you can more or less figure out where you are. Let me just show you
It
that.
had a tax map later.
I think it does.
And I was going to
Go ahead.
ask you if this report is available to the public or intended to be available to the public.
Well, we were kind of on the fence about it because it's not complete. But yes, I think it needs to be available publicly. We need to make sure people know that it's phase one, and there will be more. It's not finished yet. But yes, I think the idea, what we were talking about, was maybe having a link on the Conservation Commission website and other places. So this talks a little bit about the project, just the opening page, and then you come right to the interactive viewer. Over here, there are 4 different layers you can use. And what isn't real clear is that there are hash marks on these that turn them off and on. So depending on what you want to do, like I can turn all those off and there's nothing. And then I turn on the background layer and, this is the background layer.
I think the screen's frozen or disconnected. What you're clicking is not.
Oh, yeah, it's not, it's stuck.
Oh, it's still in presentation mode, maybe?
So,
You might have to.
oh,
No, it should still, right?
After sharing a window.
oh, I'm sharing. What am I sharing?
It actually hasn't updated since the first 5 minutes or so of the meeting, but you've been describing it well.
Oh, wait, you haven't seen the slides?
No, just the first one, slide 7, and after it just stuck on that.
When you did
But you're a great storyteller, Sandy.
Oh, no, I wish you'd said something.
Let me see about, let's stop sharing for a minute. Oh, see, it's still on the slide, isn't it?
So M's slide shows up here. And now we're in the viewer.
Okay. We can't really see everybody though, huh? I'm sorry, this is just a really hard thing for me to do.
Oh, because we have the person. Oh, wait a minute, it's almost like it's behind because it says Penny Miller. For view.
Oh, it looks like.
It just inspires me to come to the town hall the next time.
Oh my.
Talking, okay, then
Everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Sandy. I have to go.
All right,
And I'm familiar with this.
good. Good to see you.
Nice to see
Your
you.
meeting. Amy, thank you for coming. I didn't mention in the beginning, and I should have. Amy and myself, Sandy, Ryan Oakes, and Val Story were part of the original mapping group. And Craig now Opie is now on.
Has joined.
Has joined. Yeah.
You can always come back, Amy.
You could always come back. I'm so sorry, we did not. didn't
I can
want
see you,
that.
I can see you flipping through them now.
Oh, if only, huh? I thought I would try to copy the link to follow rather than going right from here.
There you go.
Maybe that's good.
Okay.
Can you see that, Penny?
Yes, it is slide number 11, right, Sandy?
No, it
Oh.
says Natural Resources Inventory Interactive Viewer.
Yes. Yes, and in the sidebar, it happens to say slide 11, but I see that.
And you're seeing Sandy turn things on and off?
I was. I'm not now. Now it's on just statically on Underhill Natural Resource Inventory Interactive Viewer slide.
Hmm.
What if you click stop sharing at the bottom and then we just have to reshare?
I can see the cursor. I can see the cursor moving around.
If we close the PowerPoint, or are we gonna need it again?
I was just trying to oh, that's what I'll do. I was trying to copy the website link so I could shut that.
Okay, yes, that's what they're seeing right now.
Oops.
If you want to learn how to use the software, I'm happy to be the guinea pig, but don't feel obligated to do this for me.
Well, can you see the viewer?
I'm almost there. I think I can feel it.
You are.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Okay, so I see the Underhill Natural Resources Inventory Interactive Viewer on the screen.
Great.
Okay.
Now, if I click things, does it change? Did it change?
I see your cursor moving. I believe it changed. We just zoomed in, perhaps? Yep, I'm seeing it zoom in.
All right, good. All right, so now we have the background layers, basically the streams in the town. And if we start with the bottom one, the land cover classes, it shows us these. And over way on the far left, this is where the legend is, so you can then see what all of these colors mean. The red is developed areas, and they describe in the methodology like how far away you know, they would map them. I'm taking an awful lot of time, aren't I? And anyways, so that's how you get that. And then you can, again, press the legend to have it go away. And the button above is the layers to get this layer back. I'll get rid of the land cover class and open the natural communities. And so you can zoom in on an area like we did. This was the area I showed you on the PowerPoint with the dry oak and different things. So when I pressed on this dry oak one, you get a description of the land cover is forest, it's deciduous forest, the natural community is red oak, natural hardwood. It shows you the acres. It has some comments on the south facing slope. That's the kind of thing that they included with each of the polygons. So let me go to maybe one of the wetlands. So this is a wetland, and they say it's a beaver, part of a beaver complex, large, diverse wetland with open water, marsh, shrub. They have a confidence category, depending on, how confident they were.
Mhm.
And then they have some other features, which I think they describe a little bit in their report, but I think this is the kind of thing that when they give presentation would be really helpful. What do these things actually mean? I believe the wildlife high priority means that it's very important for a variety of hardwood wildlife species and that sort of thing. So there's a great deal of information that they've included in this interactive one that'll just be really helpful to know. So, and then I'll just do the first blocks to finish it out.
Excuse me.
So like you saw on the presentation, each one is numbered. Here, let's look at 23, shows acres. It shows is it a lot of trees, shrubs, that kind of thing. Other ones has a little bit more shrubs. Yeah, so that's the interactive one. Any questions on how to use it? The biggest thing is it's not really intuitive when you first see it. So just being able to have a little idea of what to do, I think is helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very.
Sandy, I have a question for you. Is this interactive map or viewer something, again, that goes with this report that the public would have available to them? And the reason I ask this is, although this is just wildly exciting for me, and I thank you all so much for the work that you've done, I can just imagine that there are homeowners who are going to try to figure out if this is within their plot of land, and then are going to be potentially quite negative if they assume that the result of this is going to be that they can't subdivide, or that their land is going to be protected. So I might suggest that somehow we get the information or the intent to them that nothing is going to happen with this information unless we all agree on it or vote on it, which I hope we do, and I hope we protect our natural resources. But I would hate for you to get a lot of negative blowback because people are now concerned about what you've just identified on their property. Just a comment from the.
No, I agree totally, and we have been very, pussyfooting around because we wanted to come out with all the information that's associated with it, which is this was a data collection part of it, and now comes how can we use this, and that's up to the committees to then look at. But until you have that information and you've done the appropriate outreach about it, it can be misconstrued. So, yeah, I am hesitant to. I can't remember if in the report it actually has the link to this viewer or not.
I don't think it does. I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
Anyways, I think, maybe that's for future discussion and we hold off on putting it out there until we have more. We also at our last natural resource meeting talked about putting together a little video blurb that would just allow us to have some conversation about it and make sure people understood that it's not finished and no decisions are associated with it.
It seems to me that based on Penny's comments, that perhaps it would be best if we don't release it to the public until it's complete. I mean, I don't know. You know, because I understand Penny's concern, and I'm just wondering if you have all the pieces and you have a finished product, it's easier to address the concerns, where if you put things out piecemeal, oh, well, that's going to change. Oh, well, don't look at that, you know? So my thought is, as a person who's done implementations and rollouts, that it's best and will be easiest for the team if you roll it out when it's finished. I just think you lend yourself to too many faults and too many, you know, false starts if you and if you don't have a completed product. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Is Penny still there?
Yes, Penny's right there, right mid-screen.
Yes,
right
yes,
there.
I am. I just hope that some of those funds were put aside for a great marketing campaign related to this, because I think it's how you present it is really going to be key. Because Daphne, I was just thinking about your neighbor. You know, what if your neighbor ended up being in a wildlife corridor and ended up not being able to subdivide? Your neighbor might be very concerned that he had this land and hoped to get money from it, but now he can't subdivide. So I'm afraid so many of those issues will come up.
He knew. Well, never mind.
Just as an example, Daphne, just saying
Yes,
that
and
something,
it's a very good point. A very good point.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that our Natural Resource Committee take this information and at our next meeting, make some decisions about that. But I think you all have real valid points there, so, yeah.
That was wonderful, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome work.
It is
very
awesome.
exciting, Sandy.
Oh,
It's as if I did it myself.
Yes.
You've done such a great job.
It's a great presentation too. And now you know how to use this
I can't
computer.
just
So the
look at
next
it.
time, you can deal with it.
On it.
Yeah.
I need to get this.
Yeah, so, thank you, it's wonderful.
Sorry to take so much time.
Well, I
Oh,
did do until 7:20.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Aren't you kind?
I was guesstimating, you said about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thank you.
I'll just stay.
Okay, all right, so then the next thing that we were going to talk about were the policies and procedures that, just to approve them, and I've had ample time to review them. Would you like to see a copy of them? I can make a copy. Yeah,
I've
and,
done for the weekend, so. This is
Anyway.
just my-
so I think what we should do is make a motion to approve them. I need a motion to do that, then we can discuss them. And then, so is there a motion to approve the rules of procedure?
This is all things.
I move to approve the rules of procedure.
And then a second?
I second.
Okay, discussion from the folks that have looked at it, and I'm assuming everybody has. Yeah.
On bullet number 6, is that a typo? It says the vice chair, hair.
Oh, whoops, yeah.
I want to delete that.
You know what? Okay.
It's a bad hair day. That's all.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I caught that, but forgot to delete the other.
Yeah. It looks good. I think it has some good ideas about following the agenda as prescribed, and then, you know, if we need to make changes, and
Yeah.
and it also talks to having required time segments. I think that's really good too. I think it's a good piece of work.
That's, you have a comment?
I think it's fine.
I like the way it goes into detail about the public, public speaking. Yes, I think it's good.
Laura?
Looks good.
Agree.
Okay, then, all in favor of approving these rules of procedure?
Right?
Okay.
Second?
Are there nays? The ayes have it. That's fast. Mission statement.
Do we sign a copy?
We do sign a copy, and I will, no, that was just the confidentiality, I think. Oh, no, we do. We do.
Actually, I have a question about Trinity, is that how your last name is spelled? Is it Schroeter? Isn't it Der?
No, it's T.
Okay,
Lori fixed that.
oh, good,
Early on.
good,
Yeah.
okay. Because I think I have it in my contacts improperly.
Most people do.
I'll change it,
Yes.
that's important. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So we could sign, actually, we could sign one, and I can make a change on the hair thing, because it's page 2. All right. Yeah. And then we got to talk about, oh, this is exciting.
Should I go ahead?
Yep.
So Daphne and Trinity and I met, seems like an ancient time ago. And we talked just in general about what we felt was important. And I'm gonna just read what the final product is. I coulda, shoulda made copies, but it's pretty brief. Underhill Conservation Commission statement. Our mission is to serve the Underhill community by protecting, preserving, and identifying land resource inventories, foster education of healthy conservation practices, foster cultural awareness, agricultural, architectural, archaeological, natural, and historic resources for the greater good. And then a general statement that suggests the commission shall guide residents and town officials to appreciate the value of these assets for the benefit of future generations. So I think we had initially decided that it was best that it be brief, and I think we, so we talked about preservation value, benefit of the future, and the scenic, historic, and otherwise cultural awareness, and felt that these 3 items covered all those concerns. Conserve, maintain, and preserve history. It was a strong feeling among the 3 of us that we have that final statement. The commission shall guide residents and town officials to appreciate the value of these assets for the benefit of future generations, as in to really pass on the importance of what we have to those who are younger and live here. Is that any other thoughts, you guys?
I really like it. Like you said, at first blush, we said, well, let's just make it short and sweet. But then I think it's important that we cover all aspects of the community, and, you know, both cultural, natural resources, history, and all those things. So I like it. And then the general statement is perfect at the end, you know, preserving for future generations.
Can I use your pen?
You may.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about the statement is that it's both specific and general at the same time.
Right, right.
So
I would like a copy so I can read it. I'm somebody that has to, I can just make it. Or can I read it?
See that too. And then Carrie, when you're done, see that as well, so I can write it down.
I think there's already identifying land resources and inventories. Very short, so, and by the protecting and preserving land resource inventories, is that specifically calling, or it isn't specific, but would that include wildlife? Because, you know, for me, for instance, I'm very interested in the wildlife aspect. Yeah, so, or the, you know.
I think it, natural communities, does it say? Maybe natural communities includes plant, animal, mineral. Does it?
All of the resources.
Well,
We didn't want to get so specific that we were writing details and details and details. And,
Because if you get too specific, if you leave things out, then you get in trouble. But I think it encompasses wildlife, and I think I understand Karen's concern.
sure.
She wants to see something specific about wildlife, but I think it encompasses it. I don't know.
well, it does, it says preserve and identify, it says land resource inventories, but would that per se mean including wildlife?
So we could add
Or something?
land and wildlife and
Habitat.
or natural community
Maybe.
preservation.
Yeah, we could pull some of the text out of the.
Yeah, I mean, it's natural communities, there's also wetland communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at this as a guide, you know, they had the natural community, but then there's everything that's expected to live there, the plants
Right.
and the animals.
So if natural communities were put there with, as itemized, using this as a resource, would that make sense?
I think so. I don't think it would make it too long. I think we just need to,
So,
We just need to point at that community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we would use the term natural communities,
Yeah, I think that.
and then we would list them. Is that the idea, or?
I don't think you need to by saying natural communities.
You're encompassing all of the,
Yeah.
Okay.
all of the dependents.
So land resource inventories and natural communities? Or what was it?
and, yeah, natural
Yeah, and natural
communities
communities.
they're on or they're in.
Can I ask what was the, and maybe we're just getting rid of it, but what was the idea behind the word inventory?
Well, the fact that we would know what we have and that we would also imagine in the future acquiring other pieces of land and protecting what we currently have.
And I think inventory is something that it's not static. Inventory is constantly changing. People are subdividing. The community is selling their businesses or, inland, what do they call it when people have their land in use or
Current use.
current use? Yeah.
Or, well,
Isn't those kind of things are changing all the time? I don't know. To me, inventory includes like management, because it's always changing.
well, I think of the inventory as something that the Conservation Commission is deemed as one of the things through our legislative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in
VSA,
it's in there.
that we inventory, so we know what's there. It's not necessarily saying.
But it's
the box. Yes.
is it a box? But it's part of our responsibilities.
Responsibility to
If you look at the way the legislation is, what it states, I use that to carry it with you.
but it does help the town understand what they have, which is what we're
Right.
doing with the natural resources and inventory mapping committee, but that's part of the planning commission and conservation.
Our
are
task, yeah,
Our task.
as legislative. Yeah.
And I think that's what, Betsy, you mentioned that as well,
Yeah.
as an important
Yeah.
piece to include, because it was, as you mentioned, part of the initial intent.
Yeah.
I think that's what I remember.
So, shall we imagine saying that this works, or do you want me to send out this written piece and vote on it next meeting or whatever?
Yeah, why don't you do that? And then Craig will have a chance to look at it. Hopefully, he can compare. His text was very short.
Yeah.
And then Patrick had to, he told me he had a conflict at 7, so he jumped off. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so that would be great. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Good work.
Yeah, good
It
work.
really makes you stop and think.
Yeah. Yes, good work, and now we have a mission.
And that would be great to have right on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think, if I can just interject, it wouldn't hurt to put the ethics list, or the list of ethics for Crane Brook. But I'll do that on the sideline. Does that make sense?
As a separate, it's not part of our mission statement.
No. But as an additional piece to
That we would want on the
information on the
website.
website.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
yes.
so definitely.
Yes, that would be good.
Okay.
Yeah. Penny, you're looking lost.
No, I actually was going to ask a question because I was just doing some quick research while you folks were talking about that. And I don't know, Betsy, if you might have said, I love this phrase that New Hampshire uses for their conservation commission. And they end up saying their mission statements adds in a changing climate. And I didn't know if you said that or you folks are interested in saying that or at all, that they talked about their missions and then added in a changing climate. Because that's one of the, like what conservation commissions can do to protect natural resources in a changing climate. I was going to send you that, just send you their blurb on that. I like that idea. Maybe you don't want to include that, but since our climate is changing and it's such a big issue, we really look to you folks to help guide us as to how to make changes now. Just a public opinion, that's all.
Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, the climate is always changing.
Yeah.
But I think, to me, it's more important, the phrase about saving and preparing and doing the inventory for future generations.
Changing.
Yeah.
It would be easy to add.
Well, that's
So,
it.
so in a changing climate,
Future generations.
the commission shall guide residents and town officials to appreciate the value of these assets. That is, that includes it in a general piece that ties in the benefit for future generations. All right, I'll fuss with the wording a little bit.
And then send it out, and then we can approve it the next time.
Okay.
That's all set. That would be good. That'd be great. And so then the Monarch Butterfly Task Force update. Yes. No, go ahead. No. Timothy and I
It's just for you.
met. 2 other members of the task force were unable to make it. We didn't understand why. Craig wasn't there, but now we know. And then the other person is Julie Butler, who she was on a couple, and she's a specialist for USDA and fisheries, I think. That's what she is, but she's very much interested in butterflies. So why don't you present that? It was fascinating. I was there for 2 hours. We were talking. She was.
While I'm talking, I'll just hand around what I showed Karen, just so you can see what we were talking about, if you would want to pass that around. There's a magnifying glass to go with that. I'm sorry, I don't have it for our online community.
Oh, Penny, you should come tonight.
But, Deb,
But
you
Oh,
need
could
that.
somebody hold it up? It looks beautiful.
Some pictures with little red circles, those are the ones you want to hold the magnifying glass up.
little
see.
red
We'll show you a
circles.
few.
Yeah, so, 5 minutes. So Karen and I spoke yesterday about what the plan is for this summer in terms of monarchs. And my suggestion, my proposal is that we put on a series of workshops on how to rear and tag monarch butterflies. That would, with the intent of training our local interested locals in how to identify monarch eggs and the tiny caterpillars that emerge from them that don't yet look like real caterpillars at a time when they're abundant, before they are less abundant, because it doesn't take very long for spiders and other predators to dwindle away at those large numbers that you can easily find. So what we would like to do is mid-July, on a Saturday morning, offer some periods of time to bring maybe 5 to 10 people of the community together and go out together, maybe Cranebrook Reservation or Tomasi Meadow, other places. Maybe you all have some ideas where the milkweed ideally is not yet huge, maybe where it's been mowed once before, because the small milkweed have the greatest chance of finding eggs, much greater than full-grown milkweed. And so what we'd like to do is take these people out, train them how to find the eggs, find the caterpillars, and let them take them home with them. Which means you take off a small leaf or cut a section out of the leaf, take it, and walk them through the journey of how to rear monarchs. Tell them what they need, show them how it works, meet every week or two throughout the process until they've got a monarch. I'm getting tags. I had 50 extra tags last year. I put out on Front Porch Forum, does anybody need extra tags? And I got a few takers. And I just had somebody today email me from last year saying, when do I need to start looking for monarchs again? So what I'd like to do is say, walk with us through this journey. We'll guide you through the pitfalls of raising monarchs, because there are a couple. Teach them how to rear them, how to test for disease. That's one of the pitfalls.
Wow.
And using a microscope, and it's a lot of fun actually. And how to feed them, how to tag them, how to send them on their journey, and take pictures. All part of the fun of raising monarchs, so that people just learn to appreciate and enjoy this amazing natural phenomenon that we have right here in Underhill, which is the super monarchs. These are the ones that fly 3,000 miles to Mexico, a place they've never been before. And then 3 generations later, their great-great-grandchildren make it back up here next summer. So just to teach people how this works, so that they also can be teachers to their neighbors and their friends. We've only done this 2 years, but I feel like I've learned so much that I would love to share that with others. And it's just a fun project for kids. It's a fun project for adults.
The adults will love it too, because you're teaching them to be teachers.
Yeah.
So exponentially you expand the knowledge and the enjoyment.
Absolutely.
Right?
And, and it's not just the monarch then. It's, well then, what can I do, right? So the monarchs were listed as endangered. Well, what can I do for the monarchs? Well, you can plant pollinator gardens. You can plant milkweed. There are so many things that you can do. You can rear monarchs. You can teach your next door neighbor how to rear monarchs. So it just raises awareness about this, this asset that we have right here at our own front door, and, raises appreciation for pollinators and invertebrates and all the things that maybe we didn't have before. Starting with kids to
One of the things that Trinity disclosed to me, and I was a little shocked about it, is that monarchs sometimes are born and they have a bacteria, or is it a fungus, or is it a,
It's a, oh gosh, what is it? It's called Ophiocystis electroscura. It's, have you heard of it? Oh. It's otherwise known as OE. And in the wild, it evolved alongside monarchs from the beginning of time, but because our winters are less harsh, that disease doesn't end.
Disappear.
It doesn't disappear as much as it used to, so it's becoming
Just like
far more
the
prolific.
moose with the ticks.
Yeah. And it's more prevalent on the West Coast and in warmer areas where the milkweed doesn't die down in the winter, but it's becoming more prevalent here. So one of the ways you can easily identify a butterfly that has OE is if its wings are malformed.
Or what? Malformed?
Malformed.
Yeah.
But not always. So for every butterfly that we raise, we do an OE test on it, which means you hold the butterfly, you put a small piece of tape on its abdomen, put it on an index card, and look at it at 40 times magnification to identify the OE spores. And you can't see it with the naked eye. So you have to do this test to know if your butterfly is really safe to release into the wild. And if it's not, then there are other measures that have to be taken, unfortunately. And I've had a couple of these butterflies already, and I found a wild one last year, and I snatched it up and took it home and removed it, because these spores are essentially highly contagious to butterflies, to monarch butterflies. They spread like glitter. So you have to do a really, really good sterilization process if you have a butterfly with OE. So that's part of the reason we collect them as eggs, because they're a lot less likely to have OE. You can even wash the milkweed. I didn't mention this, but there's a whole process. You can do a bleach water rinse on the egg and the leaves.
It won't kill the egg.
It won't kill the egg. You have to rinse it. It's a very mild bleach, but it's the best way to prevent the passing on of OE, because once it hatches, it starts to eat around the milkweed, and it eats the spores and it ingests them, and then they're inside the caterpillar until it ecloses, which is comes out of the chrysalis, and then once it comes out, those spores are on its body and its wings, and it can spread them wherever it goes. So
Fascinating.
yeah,
Try to show Penny.
Yeah.
Trinity, what you described is both to raise awareness, and it may be creating a healthier population of butterflies, right? And raising, and more butterflies will survive, given what you're doing, because you're taking them out of the wild. And
yes, far more butterflies. So I'm not sure how many eggs. I didn't do good record keeping because it turned into such, there was just so many eggs and caterpillars happening in my garage and last year. I didn't do perfect record keeping, so I'm going to work on that this year. But they have a less than 10% chance of survival in the wild. Some say less than 1%. It varies between 1% and 10%, depending on the resource you look at. But I hatched 50 butterflies, and I'm pretty sure I didn't collect 500 eggs. So I had a really high success rate, and it would not have been that high in the wild, because you're preventing the predators from getting at them. You're preventing the OE from getting at them. You're raising them in this outdoor environment. They have to be raised outdoors. You're right. So you're increasing the odds of their survival while presenting a non-contaminated butterfly back into the wild.
So
Wow.
that's amazing and remarkable, and we're going to share that with people in July, starting in July.
So last year, you can see in the pictures, my nursery started, I call it my Monarch nursery, started July 14th, and I get back from my trip out west July 18th. So my idea is that Saturday, get some different groups together and go out and just start looking for eggs when I get back. Of course, anybody can start collecting eggs before then. If you all are interested, yeah, here's my nursery right here. And in some of the earlier pictures, you can see we store them in these plastic food containers
Can you
with
see it
holes
like that, honey?
in the beginning.
Is that what you brought with you? Did you bring one?
No, oh, actually, no, this is something else.
Okay.
Karen, you were asking me what a critter carrier is, so I brought two with me. I went to the store today. Petco sells these critter carriers. This was, you know how we were talking about our idea for fundraising, and I said, well, maybe we could sell
Right.
Monarch habitats.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Possibly, right? I don't know. And so I went and got these at Petco. This is a $13 critter carrier. This is a $6, $7 critter carrier. I have both of these sizes at home. I go out in the field with this size and we collect our leaves and our eggs and our caterpillars and just put them in. Doesn't open easily yet, but it will.
Right. Can you put them in, like you can have a mix of several?
I put it all in here and then I take it home and then I carefully put them in their separate bins. And I keep sizes, like sizes. I don't put eggs and caterpillars together because you don't want cannibalism. I don't know if they would, but they could. So I don't risk it. You know, they're precious to me. They're my little caterpillar babies. So yeah, so I go out and I collect with this. But you could also raise a few in here if you know if you wanted to. You could raise probably 10 or 15 in something this size. And the great thing about these is that you can see everything. You can watch the whole process. And they're very easy to clean, which is a major battle with raising caterpillars because they poop. A lot.
Big poops.
Frass. Yes, they do lots of frassing, I think. So, so yeah, so you've got to keep it clean and sterile also. So there's yeah, so these are
Makes
great.
sense.
I also have a pop-up butterfly cage that somebody donated to me last year for all of my butterflies. It was great, but it's a little bit harder to keep clean. So this is just a little bit easier, especially for somebody just starting out, you know. Anyway.
If these are endangered, is there a, is it okay to be rearing them and stuff?
There isn't any regulation
There's no
against rearing,
regulations?
not at this time. But, my thinking is if we're drastically increasing the odds of survival by
I know.
taking them in, it makes sense to me to do that, even though you would think, let nature, run its course.
Well, we've already interfered.
We've already interfered. And the great thing about it is, even if it's just, taking one or two here or there, just letting people experience the amazement of the 4-week process of taking an egg and raising it until completion, putting a tag on it, sending it off to Mexico, getting feedback, maybe it lands on somebody's butterfly bush in New York State or, along its path somewhere. They can log that information. You can go online, you can take your tag and look up and see what's going on if anybody's found it. And if it gets to Mexico, they have locals that collect those fallen butterflies, the ones that got there but maybe didn't survive, and they enter that information, and it's kind of an amazing thing. I haven't had it happen yet. You have to really produce like a lot of butterflies to have the lucky tag recovery and say, my butterfly made it all the way to Mexico. And I just think that it just makes you a more conscious citizen in many ways. So even if we're removing one egg, its odds of survival were so slim already, and the enlightenment that it brings the people around it, I think the benefit outweighs the cost, in my opinion.
Not only that, I think the benefit is all the science to it.
There's a ton of science to it.
And when you talk about science, there's also process,
Yeah.
and you've documented all that, and when you teach children, it's like, science is a process. And, I think that's great.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
exciting. I think it's such a great idea, Trinity. I'm very excited about everything you folks are doing. But Trinity, what a great idea, because when you increase people's awareness, you increase their connection to nature. And that's just what you want to promote as the Conservation Commission.
It doesn't stop with butterflies, right? Like now we have moths landing and we want to look at our moths and see what they are and learn all about them. It's just the gateway animal, or the gateway critter, I should say, whatever however you define. The other really cool thing about it is, and I'm just letting you all in on my mental process, but there is a unique Spanish immersion program that happens here in this area that doesn't happen anywhere else in Vermont. How cool would it be to have a program connected to the butterflies, right? With these kids learning Spanish, maybe some sort of connection to kids down in Mexico.
Wow.
Sister City.
This could really be a really cool project.
You would just blossom.
If people are interested, I think it's fun.
Oh,
I think it's very interesting. I think it's a great science project for kids of all ages. And I just think the Spanish immersion program piece in this area is just an extra fun way to think about what this could do, where it could go in the future.
One of the things I'm thinking about, though, is the awareness of the importance of milkweed.
Importance of milkweed, yeah.
In a garden, what you typically do,
Yeah.
you pull it. And this is something that says, oh, this is actually, well, I like the spicy smell of them when they bloom, but this is something that you want to keep in your garden because you are attracting pollinators, but the monarchs like to live on those. I mean, they grow their little eggs are laid on there. There's some crazy ones.
It's the only plant that they can live on. It's the only plant that you think, well, butterflies go to all sorts of flowers once they're butterflies, but the eggs can only be laid on in milkweed, and the infant caterpillars can only feed on milkweed. So yeah, they're incredibly important. I was also thinking how fun it would be, at the farmers market if we set up a little booth. Brought our caterpillars. I think it could also be a wonderful segue into just raising awareness about the Conservation Commission, the work we're doing, right? This could be a little gateway creature to just draw attention to the good work that, Natural Inventory Resources Mapping, Conservation Commission, what we're doing. It's just one little creature, but it could raise a lot of awareness.
So do you have a marketing background?
Oh, yeah.
Not really. No, not really.
It was first.
I just when I think about all the interesting connection points, I just think there's a lot. I think there's a really great, this is a great spot, and there's some interesting stuff happening. Butterflies do a lot for connecting people.
So what's our next step?
So Daphne, I guess you create flyers.
I do.
Poster queen.
So maybe we could have you create a poster or a flyer.
I could do that, but I need some images. I need JPEGs because I interchange between different systems.
Do you want stuff like pictures, or do you want stuff off the internet?
If you could just send me a sampling and what you'd like to see on a flyer, like what the text is, what the images are, what the date is. If you can give me all that information, all I have to do is create it.
Could I just want to make one comment. I produce a monthly newsletter, and I borrow all of my images from the internet because I just don't have the time to get permissions for everything. And it really seems to irritate, I believe, photographers, nature photographers, that I do that. So I have occasionally tried to use Bernie Paquette as a resource, and he's been very happy to do that. He's been very happy to give me photographs as long as I cite his name with them. So I just wanted to make that suggestion in case you want to do that.
Oh, you can't see, Penny, but I have a whole binder full of images of monarchs that I, so once
Of your own?
really,
Yes,
Yeah.
I was trying to show
Oh,
them to you.
I've got,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can, where's the camera? Right here? No. Where is
Trinity,
it?
hold it right in front of you. Wow.
Yeah, right there.
Oh my word.
See the tags on the butterflies, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
amazing. Wow.
She had hundreds of photos here.
Oh my
I've got
gosh.
many more than this. These
Yeah.
are just a few.
It makes me want to weep. It's so beautiful. I mean, just think, while you are busy raising these beautiful insects, I am busy drowning jumping worms. I mean, what kind of life do I have compared to yours? Wow. Beautiful.
Jumping worms.
Yeah, she's the jumping worm.
Somebody's got to do it.
come up with a
Somebody's
date? I gotta go soon, and
Yeah.
I wonder if we can.
So the date, so Trinity comes back July 18th. And so when you're on vacation, Betsy, when? Seems like it's that week
So
So
for
maybe-
the last 2 weeks.
of the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't mean anything. It seems like the 22nd is the first Saturday after Trinity's home.
Would that be too close? Maybe the 29th would be better?
It'll be over by then. We have to really collect the eggs when they're here.
So the
The local
22nd.
schools couldn't get caterpillars this year. I don't know if
Really?
you do butterflies at your school, but yeah, Underhill Central School, none of the teachers had caterpillars because the decline is real and you can feel it from one year to this year. So you have to get the eggs when they're available. And even even when I get back on that Saturday, I'm afraid it will be on the late side. But, I think it's worth trying. So I wouldn't want to wait, but I would also say if any of you all are able to get out and start collecting eggs, it would be good because we don't know what we'll find when we're out with folks. We could even maybe hand an egg or two over to people just so that people start to get that excitement. I don't know if you guys are out and about and able
Yeah, I
to
have
locate.
lots of paddocks that have all kinds of milkweed and everything.
So
So I want to get started.
Yeah.
maybe July
Yeah.
22nd, but prior to that, if we were going to collect, we have to have some lessons, yes,
So when do you
in
leave?
services, because it's very technical. You can't just put them in a box with a few leaves to live.
So
They have to be cared for every day.
like at least once a day I
Yeah.
have to check on my caterpillars.
You have to clean the frass.
The frass. Yeah, we could do that. I leave next Wednesday, so
Oh, you're really that quick.
yeah. So I've got this week. If anybody is interested, I could go through it. I have a book also that would be really helpful to read.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I'm not
Yeah.
planning on going anywhere. I'm not available Tuesdays, generally, but I'm available the rest of the days of the week.
Okay.
Maybe if you put out a couple of days and times that would work for you, because you've got a large
Right.
fee on butterflies, and
Right.
then whoever could come, and
Yeah.
that would be a good start.
Yeah.
And then maybe Daphne figures out a wonderful poster, and we plan for the Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And
And then it would be like that Saturday, and I would say really I also wonder, do we want to have, would it make sense to do a presentation on what this whole project is before we're headed out looking for butterfly eggs? Or would it just be, let's keep it simple, we're just going to take people out and look for butterfly eggs and explain it on the fly?
maybe some of what you do comes about in the search. as opposed to did I say that?
You mean explaining it on as we're walking around and looking for butterflies? Yeah.
If it's a small group of people.
Yeah,
But that's just an idea.
The daily cleaning and things, that might
Well,
get lost in the.
yeah.
That's true.
I'm just thinking, yeah, there are some technical pieces to it, but
So if we want to get this going, we got to do it right away.
yeah.
So, can we get those kits? Can like all of us get those kits, like to keep them clean? Is that enough for us to start?
Yeah. Well,
So-
you wouldn't, this comes in about a week or two after you hatch the eggs. So what you need first are some tubs. But we could talk about this. I'll have you guys come over to my place and I'll just kind of explain it, the process, the way I go through it. And then you can easily get, some food storage tubs at Jericho Market or wherever. And then Petco has these, and I could grab a whole bunch and, distribute them if you guys want.
Penny, you can come too.
As long as
Whoever
you
wants-
leave those
whoever
worms
wants to
at
come.
home.
Yeah, no worms. But whoever wants to come, the more the merrier. That way there are more people able to teach and guide and that's the whole idea, is that everybody learns how to do it.
So are you thinking July 22nd might be a little late to get the eggs?
I'm thinking it starts earlier than that. Earlier is better. So yeah.
Because what if we encouraged maybe with a video or some like flyer like instructions of, hey, go out and get eggs and then meet us on July 22nd at Tomasi Meadow to talk about the process of your eggs.
The only problem is that people are gonna start grabbing these, like I did, the first leaf I grabbed ever to look under, I had a caterpillar stuck under my finger.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you're looking for, you think it's not a caterpillar.
Right.
And then you don't go any further because it's gross and it's squishy and it looks like a grub.
Yeah.
Seems like it's pretty technical and detailed, which is really neat. I'm just worried about us getting started and not having a very good start, with people just not knowing
We'll still find eggs and caterpillars on that. I'm sure of it. There just won't be quite as many, or the eggs may have already hatched and there may be caterpillars, which means they're already eating the leaves, which may already be infected with OE. All the reason why we're trying to get them in eggs. But it's still a great experience, and the odds are still really good that you have a healthy butterfly. It's I would say we start then, but if I could train you all how to like start looking for eggs on your own, I would feel really good about that. Because I think you all have that mindset and you're able to focus in on the details and know what you're looking for. Whereas if I just made a little, video and people, most people are not going to go out on their own. They want to be like handheld.
Yeah. That's good.
good.
Yeah, so
July 22nd.
July 22nd, and the in-service will be this coming
This
weekend?
weekend? Sure.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see.
just give us a date.
I mean-
You don't have to do it right now, but
Yeah.
like send out a time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this weekend generally, I mean, it's hard, right? It's Father's Day on Sunday.
My son graduates from high school on Saturday.
So I could do, Lori, I know you're teaching, you're not really available during the week, but
That's okay. Go for it. I'll get the advice from Karen.
yeah. But I could do like, what's today, Monday? I could do like a Thursday, Friday morning, Wednesday morning. I don't know. I could do, this week,
maybe Friday morning or something.
maybe Friday morning.
Yeah, if that works or not, or.
I'm away from Thursday through the weekend, but
What about Wednesday morning?
Wednesday morning would
Oh, wait,
work.
and
Wednesday would work for me.
sorry, I've got something at my son's school Wednesday morning.
I've got to
Let me
look
check the
for-
time on that, but maybe Wednesday morning. He's got something I have to go to at school, but maybe Wednesday morning.
And you guys can train me, because Wednesday I've got to go, it's all set up to go looking for Ram's Head. what are the orchids? They're little orchids, ram's head orchids, they're little,
Orchids, really?
well, they're like lady slippers, they're ram's head lady slippers and orchid, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're in, a bog up in Hapsbury area.
Oh, so there's a special group that's going to.
Well, we have to do it this week because you're gonna go by. It was an assignment that came late. They posted it like 4 days ago and expect us to go out to go looking for it. Yeah. But I could,
catch up with you separately.
Okay.
yeah, whatever works.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
email,
yeah.
figure it out.
yeah, figure it out. Betsy and Daff and Lori and I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
We're-
tutor you.
Yeah.
I could even,
Okay.
my husband would love this.
Well, I would say, yeah, whoever
I
wants
mean,
to get
he's like
a
bored.
label- Bring your husband, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring whoever, because really the more that know how to do it, the better.
Yeah.
And the earlier you start.
And
the
he's
better.
really technical, in
Yeah.
detail. Where sometimes I'm like,
Okay, so we sort of settled the schedule. Thank you very much.
wow, that's so
And-
exciting.
Yeah. And we have one other thing on the agenda, which is to approve the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look at them?
So we're approving the April 10th as well as the May 9th. As well as, are we also approving the recreation committee ones, or are those kind of out of our?
Sort of out of it because it's a mix.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Let's see.
May 8th and then May 9th was
Oh, yeah, so May 8th, yes,
rec
correct.
committee.
Yeah. So May 8th and April 10th.
Yeah. And I looked at them. Did I have a chance to relook at them?
I didn't.
I have a new folder on my iPhone.
I'm just in your eyes.
What are they?
Oh, May 8th?
Yeah, I'm realizing in the approval of the minutes on May 8th, I kind of just like did a ... but what I really meant to say was that they were just tabled, so. Oh, can I discuss or do we need a motion?
We need to have first a motion to approve the May 8th minutes.
Okay.
I move that we approve May 8th minutes.
And we need a second.
A second.
Okay. Now is the discussion, and the last time we couldn't approve the minutes because we didn't have a quorum of the folks that were there at the meeting. So I think we do now. Yes, we do.
I think that, oh, sorry, I retract my, my mention, my move. Because I feel like we need to put in there that we made a decision to not have a plant sale this year, which I don't think was documented anywhere. If that makes sense.
Yeah, were they at the bottom of the recreation commission meeting minutes where I said that about the plant sale? Or no? Because I was kind of like after.
I wrote it in with my own handwriting. There isn't mention.
On the 9th or the 8th?
On the 9th.
Okay.
That's right, at the end of the joint
talked
meeting,
about
we
it,
talked
but-
about it.
We didn't.
Yeah, but she said it was right here, meeting tomorrow, May 9th.
And at that meeting on the 9th, we actually decided not to,
Decision.
made a sit, it was after the,
Recording was over.
yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that might be an important piece to get in there somewhere.
Yeah, to cover our bases. Because I think it was a big deal that we didn't have it.
So how do I word it in this discussion? Or do we need to open another motion to talk about the May 9th minutes? Or do I say Betsy moves to approve the May 8th and May 9th minutes with an addition?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
simplest and clearest, and
Yeah,
I think.
Good catch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that was
Yeah,
big.
we should document
And so we're going to move to approve of May 8th Conservation Commission, and then May 9th, which was
it.
joined
Fabric,
with the
yeah.
So someone needs to move that
yes.
motion.
I move that we do the combined approval with May 8th and May 9th in our next meeting. Tonight.
With an added piece about the plants.
With the added line about the cancellation of the plant sale.
Addendum
Addendum.
to it. That makes sense, Laura.
I think so.
Laura saying that it would be.
All right, you can let me know at the next meeting.
Okay, so do we have a second? You
I
seconded
second.
it. All in favor of approving?
Aye.
The ayes have it. There aren't any nays. And,
No,
But-
I have a question about our Don Toby stuff.
okay.
That maybe ought to be on next.
Why don't we do
month's
that
agenda.
next? Yeah, I can put it on the July agenda.
Super.
Yeah, all right. Is there a motion?
Yeah.
to-
Can we also approve the April 10th meeting minutes that we couldn't approve last time? Or did we already do that too?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the April 10th?
I move that we approve April 11th meeting
11th.
menu minutes.
And there's a second? I want to make sure we have,
I second.
okay. All in favor of approving the April 11th meeting?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. So, thank you.
Yes.
And then we need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn our meeting tonight of June 11th.
12.
12.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna end the recording.
Bye, thank you.